Did
Welcome to the Business of Black Business, a weekly talk show that interviews Black entrepreneurs and advocates for Black businesses. Our topics include access to capital, best business practices, success stories, and more. Now introducing our host, Jay Reynolds.
Hello, business family. This is the Business of Black Business. Now, got a question for you. Are you working in a position today that is, let's call it, supposed to be the ideal job for you? Would you rather be building your own business and maybe chasing a passion? And another question about that is is everybody telling you not to quit your good job, right? Today, we get to meet a young entrepreneur who left Wall Street to pursue life as a general contractor. You got it. He went from business analyst to builder. My name is Jay Reynolds, and this is the Business of Black Business. I own Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing company. We place people in finance, accounting, and IT. Now, this show, the Business of Black Business, is a show that's designed to help Black entrepreneurs and would-be business owners start and scale a business. It's really a unique opportunity for you to gain access to successful people and hear how they did it. I want you to be in the room. I want you to hear directly from them. Now, today we get to talk to Kevin Cervantes of KC Construction and Development. Really good guy and also a very good alpha man. Kevin, thank you very much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jay. Thanks for having me here. Excited for this conversation.
So am I. You have a very unique story, and I can't wait for people to hear it. First of all, and most importantly, what I want you to do is introduce yourself. Who are you and why? I'm not talking about your bio now. I'm talking about who are you, why, where did you grow up? Who were your mentors as you were growing up?
Absolutely. So my name is Kevin Cervantes, and who I am at the core, I'm a young person pursuing the American dream. I immigrated from Ecuador, and as most immigrants landed here in one of the hub cities, more specifically New York City, what I consider my home of origin, the Bronx, New York. In terms of how I came to be, initially one of these one of those people who continuously had multiple jobs growing up out of kind of like this necessity. My generation just specifically lived through the 2007 and 2008 recession, so we kind of had to manage and handle those variables as we grew up. Stumbled my way into college, and by stumble, as we talked through, who are these people who kind of nudge you in one direction, or who do you have exposure to, and who kind of got you to the next step. College is one of those pivotal ones where it wasn't part of the plan. However, a lot of who I am today was developed during those stages, making those decisions, looking the other way, and even then, that being the path less taken based off the community from where I came from. So, kind of my first stepping blocks is stepping into the unknown, into the ambiguity of it all with a sense of self-confidence and kind of like learning as you go and knowing that everything comes through people. And most of the time, it's nothing but a text, a phone call, and years of kind of sustainable values, right? So, who is Kevin and why should I invest in him? Who is Kevin is one who I can trust to either introduce them to a person that I think could up guide, up value, or is this a partner where, hey, I know a buddy of mine who kind of has part A figured out, is looking for someone part B. I'm in part B, looking for someone in part A. So, those are my beginnings, and that's kind of like the origin story.
Really interesting story. I guess I've known you for a few years now, and quite frankly, I've always been impressed by you in terms of your ability to be able to navigate through things. They're very complex, as well as just the normal everyday, good bruh stuff. But I've watched you do that as a young man. Tell me, first of all, how did you get involved in the construction business? Because as I met you, you were a finance guy. You were a number crunching guy on steroids, right? So tell me how you got involved in the construction business.
Well, look, everything you're saying it all, right? Kind of like a general management guy, transferred over to general contracting, right? So I think the biggest piece there, what brings everything into common is this like aspect of being a generalist, being someone who's continuously looking and seeking to for areas to grow, and really being a facilitator. So part one of understanding numbers is, what is this story, right? What are we building towards, or how did we get here? General contracting is kind of like similar, where it's like, what is this project that we're looking to launch? What is the story, right? So what is the schedule, and what are the right people in the right places, the right strategy, and the right kind of way to get this job done? How does that all coincide? And it all starts from taking a step back and understanding, like, why are we doing this, and what's the best way to do to get the job done, and who are the right people to kind of like bring along the way. It's funny when I think about when it all started. It's truly up to you. It depends, right? I can give you a story of when I was like 12 to 13 years old, kind of working as a side gig, doing drywall, framing, and insulation in upstate New York. So what we would do is on the weekends, for a couple of dollars on the weekends to earn, we would go from New York City, travel about an hour north, and work on projects with a general contractor. And a lot of those scopes, that was my first introduction into, I can do something with my hand. But better yet, this was the first time where I saw math actually being applied in real life, right? So I'm a product of the New York public education system. So what it gave me was a platform, or something tangible for me to apply all these principles to, which to that point there weren't many like applications, right? You learn one thing, the next day you're kind of taught to learn the next and kind of forget what got you to this next stage. But this was my first introduction into actually seeing, one, how is a business ran, right? Like, he's buying, he's selling, he's getting everything together. I am here with a measuring stick trying to figure out the angles of, like, okay, we're 6 inches off the center, 8 inches off the center. What comes next? I think the next big moment in my life that it kind of like introduced me to the, I would call it my creative confidence, was, as I mentioned before, I kind of stumbled into college. So when I did make this decision of like senior year in high school, okay, wasn't planning to go to school, but now that I am, and now that I'm nudged on this way, how do I pay for it? And that second opportunity actually came from my first introduction into Wall Street. I would do an internship after high school. From that internship, I participated in a robotics program under Columbia University, catered specifically to high school students in the public education system. So what that allowed me to do was implement, kind of like get exposure to even higher technical, like scientific and numerical values, with taking the knowledge that I learned in framing, like, okay, these are the hardware components. This is kind of how it plays into software. And that led me into college. So as I was evaluating all of that, I started taking risks. So I left the traditional kind of full-time job in corporate America, and then actually took a risk into a startup. So what the startup allowed me to do was get one-to-one exposure from a kind of like a founder entrepreneur, how to build something from 0 to 1, how to scale. And then once I gained exposure there, I kind of like asked myself, wait, this is this person's dream. Do you have a dream that you've deferred up to this point?
Right.
You have to, like, if you can pick and choose any lane, which one would you choose? Because from my experience, really what it was signing on for like a long-term journey, right? So, nothing great happens from year 0 to 1, from 1 to 3 years. So I asked myself, I'm young. I have 20 to 30, 40 years from this game. What is it?
You have some time to take that punch to the stomach, right?
What is a pathway? What is something that I think I can invest in for the next 10 to 20 years, not just next year or the next 5 years, that I see myself really being passionate about? And
I'll tell you what, hey, Kevin, we're going to need to jump to a commercial break real quick, but I really want to drill down into that. When we come back, we're going to talk about that evolution. And we're going to also talk about your marketplace, the thing that you carved out for yourself. But hang on. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Help comes in many forms. As a Miami-Dade County bus operator, you can help your community, help those in need, and even help yourself. Operators have the opportunity to earn more than $50,000 a year plus built-in overtime, earn more than 13 paid holidays and vacation days, and take advantage of the tuition reimbursement program. Plus, qualified new drivers will receive a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Become a driving force in our community. Apply now at miamidade.gov/busdriver.
The August 20th primary election. It's your voice and your vote, so make it count. Request your vote by mail ballot before August 8th. Easily track and confirm your vote online. Take action at miamidade.gov/elections or call 311.
Hey Miami-Dade, the August 20th primary election is approaching. Register to vote or change your political party online or by mail no later than July 22nd. Visit miamidade.gov/elections or call 311.
Experience the heart of HBCU culture at the Orange Blossom Classic. This Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens transforms into an HBCU homecoming you don't want to miss. Catch the matchup between North Carolina Central Eagles and the Alabama State Hornets on September 1st at Hard Rock Stadium. But there's more. Enjoy a full lineup of events like the Battle of the Bands and Fan Fest. Tickets start as low as $25. Get your tickets and book your hotels now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Be a part of something unforgettable.
Miami-Dade, we have an important choice this year, who we elect as our sheriff.
It's been 60 years since we elected this position, and the choice is clear for me. I'm with Chief James Reyes.
I'm with Chief Reyes too, because he understands our community and is the most experienced to keep our neighborhoods safe.
Chief Reyes has a plan to take on public corruption with a dedicated unit to deliver accountability for our community.
This August, join us in voting for Chief James Reyes.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, before we talk about your marketplace, I want to ask you this question. Now, you had carved out this thing for yourself. You went to school, did well in school. You worked for a PE firm. And I'm telling you, you got to a point in time when you were making money and all that stuff. What did your family members say about you quitting your good job to do something different?
I told them after the fact, the way that I grew up. So just for context, right? When I immigrated into the States, it was just me and a single mother. So after the 2007 and 2008 recession, we were separated due to like financial circumstances. So I kind of like grew this pattern of kind of leading and doing what I need to do with very limited, like kind of like family surrounding.
Sure.
And then kind of like informing them like, hey, by the way, this is the decision I've made. All this scariness is already removed. Like, join me in this journey as I now continue to grow it. And as you know, I have 3 younger brothers. So like, this is college. This is literally, no one knowing what my GPA was. And me kind of saying like, hey, I'm going to college. I figured out scholarships 1, 2, and 3. They kind of got used to it. However, this is the big pivotal. This is the big one, right? This is the big move. They're scared for me. So, which in order to protect my energy is one of the reasons why this one specifically, I consciously decided to kind of like wait until the right moment. Once the office was already kind of like booked, right? The lease is signed, the logo is up, we have recurring projects. Guys, by the way, I know you stopped asking me questions about what I do a long time ago. This is something that's ours. This is something that I want to share with you guys. This is a process where I have the option to bring you guys in from the ground floor. Pick and choose what from this platform you're interested and curious about. Now, this is a sandbox that I can share with you guys. So
we're going to talk about that in a second, Kev. I want to pivot to something different, and then I want to come back to that because family is important, right? Generational wealth is important, and us reaching back to pull the people behind us is really important, right? Absolutely. I want to talk about that in a second. But talk to me a little bit about your marketplace and the categories that you cater to. What are you chasing right now?
Oh, I'm chasing learnings and opportunities, man. So again, this is the ground floor. So I'm matching practice to theory. So I had a theory, right? One of the initial theories is there's 3 lines of businesses where if I create a 3 to 5 year roadmap, in 5 years looking back, what are the areas that I want to look back at and say to myself, I've either, launched myself into the unknown and kind of got learnings to kind of iron out what specialty I should focus on, how should I diversify, kind of like, how do I diversify what's working? How do I figure out what's not working? And how do I make decision towards, is this something that's worth the investment? And is this something that we believe in? So the marketplace that I kind of ironed out here specifically was through the general contracting line of business, more specifically on the residential side,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what the residential side allows you to do, from my perspective, is this is like that first stage, first introduction to leverage my license. However, I'm able to kind of test out what processes actually work, right? I'm able to take a ground floor look as to what is the experience from team members to the client experience. How do I document that, and how do I create sustainable, scalable processes towards that? And
Okay.
residential for me allowed me the space to let me be the front person leading this, right? Let me be not only like the GC, but let me be the project manager here. Let me be the business.
Right. Right. In the trenches. That's where the lessons are learned, right? That's where the good, the bad, and the ugly happens right there. So you're exactly right. That's a really good point that you just made. Now, you seem to have had no problems in your young life investing in yourself. Okay, as a small, going to school on your own primarily, and finding your way through financial institutions, and now your own company. You seem to have invested in yourself, and you're very comfortable doing that. Why is that important for people like yourself to take on that same kind of mantle? Building a small business, perhaps, or investing in yourself, perhaps, versus to the point that you made earlier about investing in somebody else's dream.
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Okay. What I'm asking you is, why is it important to invest in your own dreams and your own business versus, being comfortable investing in somebody else's dreams?
Why is it important? Ultimately, it's a pursuit of happiness, right? So I think when you're investing in somebody else's dream, you're kind of like looped into not in the agenda or program, but you're kind of like there's an objective and you're bought in up until a certain point. However, I believe that we all aspire to create, we all aspire to have purpose behind our lives. What legacy are we leaving behind? What unique story got us here? And how do we share that story for the next person as well? So as we continue to build a holistic kind of like perspective of happiness, right? I think building upon these practices of continuing to kind of share the inspiration to others also allows me to grow as a leader as well. Like my journey is only getting started, but I may be in lap 3, someone may be in lap 1, and I'm learning for someone in lap number 5, right? So as we continue to build out this network effect of the people knowing people, it's a beautiful process of sharing real life and getting to see people find fulfillment and joy and purpose in what they do. The biggest piece I think for me was ultimately, what options do I have? What options can I provide? And how much of my time am I really, we have a finite set of time within this lifetime. How do I best want to use that? Right. So I always do kind of like 2 things, this push-pull analysis, right? Saying, okay, I'm here now, but in the next couple of years, what are some things that I want to like throw myself at, that I would say to myself, I grew here, I learned here, and because of that, somebody else's life is that much better.
Gotcha. I got to tell you, one of the things that I most admire about what you've done is the fact that you brought your family along this path. Maybe pushing and pulling, or maybe they came along kicking and screaming. I don't know. But we have about a minute before we go to commercial break. Why don't you tell me about that experience, bringing your brothers into the business?
It was my dream, Jay. Nothing more, nothing less. It was my dream. As I mentioned before, kind of growing up in this kind of like scattered environment as the oldest, not only did it wasn't a sense of responsibility at the beginning, but it was a sense of choice later on in life, right? You kind of like choose what life you kind of get to live, and they as well. So bringing them on was me wishing I could bring them to the first to graduate high school with me, right? To kind of be like, hey, college is good because you get to speak to different people. Hey, my experience in corporate was good because I got to like practice in a safe environment, these high level concepts that we can bring along for the next part of our journey. So, there's barriers to entry. Come here, learn here, use it for yourself, use it for others. One of my young brothers who comes right directly after me now has a child, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not only let me bring him along so he can feel more confident in providing and having more options for him in his career. It's also he's bringing his daughter along for like different projects. And so my point of doing that is being true to my values of, are we opening up? Are we normalizing ownership? Are we low? Are we normalizing equity? Are we normalizing our ability to create for ourselves and to share this with our family and continue to kind of like move along in this growth cycle?
Got it. Hey, we got to take another break to pay the bills, and when we come back, we're going to drill down into that a little bit more about paying it forward, to the point you're making, and also I want you to talk directly to business owners, potential business owners like yourself. We'll be right back.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family. Our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Help comes in many forms. As a Miami-Dade County bus operator, you can help your community, help those in need, and even help yourself. Operators have the opportunity to earn more than $50,000 a year plus built-in overtime, earn more than 13 paid holidays and vacation days, and take advantage of the tuition reimbursement program. Plus, qualified new drivers will receive a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Become a driving force in our community. Apply now at miamidade.gov/busdriver.
The August 20th primary election. It's your voice and your vote, so make it count. Request your vote by mail ballot before August 8th. Easily track and confirm your vote online. Take action at miamidade.gov/elections or call 311.
Hey Miami-Dade, the August 20th primary election is approaching. Register to vote or change your political party online or by mail no later than July 22nd. Visit miamidade.gov/elections or call 311.
Experience the heart of HBCU culture at the Orange Blossom Classic. This Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens transforms into an HBCU homecoming you don't want to miss. Catch the matchup between North Carolina Central Eagles and the Alabama State Hornets on September 1st at Hard Rock Stadium. But there's more. Enjoy a full lineup of events like the Battle of the Bands and Fan Fest. Tickets start as low as $25. Get your tickets and book your hotels now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Be a part of something unforgettable.
Miami-Dade, we have an important choice this year, who we elect as our sheriff.
It's been 60 years since we elected this position, and the choice is clear for me. I'm with Chief James Reyes.
I'm with Chief Reyes too, because he understands our community and is the most experienced to keep our neighborhoods safe.
Chief Reyes has a plan to take on public corruption with a dedicated unit to deliver accountability for our community.
This August, join us in voting for Chief James Reyes.
Kevin, you talked a lot about your family and bringing them along, and also this whole idea about providing this vision for the entire family. And I really applaud that. I want to talk a little bit more about that, though. Today, what is also your why? What keeps you motivated? Why are you doing what you're doing today?
Absolutely. So what gets me most excited is opening up options and opportunities for my current and future family, right? So as I think through the next 10 to 15 years and what life I want to live, one of the things that I'm investing my time in now is to free up my time later, not for the purpose of not doing anything with that time, but continuing to invest in people and continuing to progress kind of like views forward, right? So if education is something that's important to me, right, I can't be doing that if I'm working like 60 to 80 hours, like with a hammer. Let's just put it at that point, right? But if I invest the first 5 to 10 years with a hammer, right, and now we're in this other area where you can kind of control the purse strings or kind of like donate to an organization or value that you actually believe in and kind of is tied to who you were, the promises you made to yourself and your community and people around you, then that's where I kind of want to go. So that's where the construction and development kind of like thought process came about, right? Construction is kind of like, now it's understanding granularly what will lead eventually up to development. And then development is more about going for this legacy play, right? Because that play is really over time. As you know, as people continue to grow and mature, you realize that things that are set up for sustainability don't happen in a vacuum, and don't happen immediately. It literally takes planting one seed today, forgetting about it, hopefully coming back in 7 to 10 years and saying like, oh, I'm very glad I planted the seed at a very early stage. Right.
I totally agree. Now, people would look at you, that you've been very successful at a very young age, but there are landmines out there. What are some of the things that you think that a new business owner or a person that's starting their business should watch out for? What are some of the things that you believe that they should hear from a relatively new entrepreneur like yourself?
Absolutely. I'll tackle one thing that's top of mind, specifically more from the generational shift perspective, where I see a lot of people kind of like held back saying like, I want to start this business. I have the social profile on Instagram or X now, and like now I'm getting some followings, and trying to ignore the human and relational piece of business where, you know, it's not just the top line and how many people you're expanding yourself out to, but who are the people like next to you or to the side of you that can bring in this collaboration, and you can share learnings and best practices. You know, my biggest learnings come from being with a subcontractor, owns his own business, maybe like a plumber, electrician, and me asking that question kind of like, in this particular county or city, like what should I look out for? How is the county? How is this permitting actually happen? You know, what are the contacts and resources that we can share? I have this, you have that. Great. When we talk about pursuing, government and like kind of like the commercial targets, right? It's understanding like from someone who's already qualified to even meet the requirements to kind of like headshot for that opportunity. How did you get there? Kind of like what tools and resources did you get to? And the better question for me is kind of like, what didn't work so well that you think I should look out for? So I think, you know, it's this human relational piece where you can't avoid it.
Hey, that cannot be overlooked, Kev. It just cannot be overlooked. People do business with people that they like and trust. Well, I got to tell you, I can actually talk to you for a very long period of time. You have such a unique young perspective. Love talking to you, but hey, this is my time. And I just want to say to my business family out there, this is the business of Black business. It's designed for people like you. So I want you to tune in next week when we get to talk to another person like Kevin Cervantes. Kevin, how can they get in touch with you?
All right, great. You can reach me at kc@kcconstructiongroup.com or the office at admin@kcconstructiongroup.com.
You got it. Again, this is the business of Black business. It's for you. I always say that if it is to be, it's up to me. Thank you, Legacy Magazine, for making this important. We'll see you again next time on the business of Black business.